roll casting today, and oh, there was just one there. There we go. Got him. This is a smaller crappie fish, is it? Oh, he's a nice one. And let me talk about that there float. It's just 2mm foam that you can get at Michael's or online, any craft store. Let me get him off. I might go put on a bigger Clouser later. It's just 2mm foam, and you can see I just cut it out and punched a couple of holes to make that there fly fishing float. And does it work better than anything you can buy? I don't know. Ooh, that was a bass. I might get out there, but this is about crappie and floats, so. That was a nice jump there. A little windy today. Wind is coming in on this end. I might get out by those trees in a little bit. Wow, that's a big crappie. I think that was a crappie that jumped out there. I think that's the biggest one yet. That's a big slob of a crappie. Oh, he's got a big gash on him too. Saying that they're getting hit out there. Let me show you. Let's see. That's the biggest one yet. And you can see he was hit right there. You're going to keep fish, which is fine, but just be sensible. He's nice size. This is the one I would keep. These are some decent crappie. That's a little bigger one. Maybe we'll get some monsters. That's a nice one. But I am using a float today, a fly fishing float that I made myself. I'll talk briefly how I made that. And I'm going to talk about the rig and the minnow I'm using. Almost cheating. I'm using the PERRINE crappie fishing with floats and Clouser minnow. These are the floats I made, and it's just 2mm foam that I cut, and that's it. And to put them on, there's two ways to do it. I'll show you the other way later. I just run it through here in one hole and out the other, and just slide her up. And when you get to your knot, if you use loop knots, I just pull them to it and good to go. And you set your depth just by sliding it up and down, and it stays fairly well. I'll start about, I think about 3 feet. And that's it. There we go. Oh, let him off. Oh, got him. Now, you're going to keep these guys. I just want to say, just practice some sort of sustainability, common sense. Keep a couple for dinner, eat what you're going to eat, and let the rest go. I rarely keep these guys, but occasionally it's all about the fun. You can see the float is really keeping our minnow in there. That's the littlest guy yet, and he just inhaled that. They're loving this yellow Clouser. And this one is a little sparse. Better than pliers. I tied this sparse, you can see. Got bead eyes. I think it's a number 6 hook. And using the Clouser. Oh boy. Days like today, I run my batteries through and we'll be getting the big ones at night and my batteries will be dead. This is just phenomenal fishing. And I'm using a float, fly fishing float, and it's almost like cheating. I knew it was going to be like this. I was out the other day. Well, that's a nice guy. I was out the other day and I had quite a few without the float. But I really thought that float would ramp up our catch. I was fly fishing with floats for crappie with the PERRINE automatic fly fishing reel. Oh, gotta be careful, there's a tree behind me. And Clouser minnows. I gotta believe my hook ain't so sharp as I thought. The PERRINE is just like the Martin video. The PERRINE number 57. I'm using floating line today. Floating line with fly fishing floats. Look for crappie. And right there, pre-spawn. Come on. Sunny day out. But they don't seem to mind it all too much. Let's see. Sometimes a shorter leader is advantageous if you're fishing from the bank, but disadvantageous if you're wading. Got him. Ooh, that's a bigger one. And you can see that what the floats are doing is, the fly fishing floats is just holding that Clouser minnow in where the fish are. And a little bit, I may be using nice crappie in the sun. Alright, two things in this video. Fishing with floats and using floating line perfect. You want to use that for the floats, obviously. I was fishing with this the other day and I cut the tippet down a little bit. Oh, there we go. And I cut it down a little bit just to make it cast a little better. That's something I do. And actually the second thing is that I wanted to talk about is I'm using a PERRINE automatic reel today that I was using and looking for crappie. And we got one. And I am using floats today. See? Most sacrilege, like we were cheating. So I'm going to fish for some crappie. I'm just waiting for that. There we go. That float just move, twitch, anything. Just a little hook set. Some people will say that it's not pure fly fishing when you're fly fishing with a float, but I say it's all pure fly fishing to me. fish her away. It's all how you do it, how you want to do it. And we'll talk about these here floats in a second. I think we get another one. I think we had our limit, or we're getting darn close to our limit now. I'm going to pick out some more, and I don't know, maybe we'll look for that big one. Put on something big and get underneath them. Here we go. They don't seem to mind my shadow too much. I move slow. Let's see if I can follow up with them. There we go. And I'm using a sparse Clouser minnow. Probably got, I don't know, about 9 to 10 feet of leader. And that's the float. A float I'm using is just 2mm foam. You got them? And you can get that foam, 2mm foam, and make all the fly fishing floats that you want. I get the foam from Michael's, the arts and crafts store. I'm sure you can get that foam online, and it's 2mm. Yeah, that's one of the bigger ones. That's a nice fish. It's a 2mm foam, and it's holding up that big-eyed Clouser. And on the Clouser minnow, these are stainless steel. I have stainless steel eyes, 4.5mm. Ooh, this. There we go. 4.5mm eyes to a number 4 hook. No additional weight. Nice slow drop so they could see it from the other side or wherever they are and come and grab it. I slowed up with just a second. I only been fishing 20 minutes with these here floats, and they're just going nuts. But it did slow up for about a little bit, a couple minutes, but it's been a quick, steady bite. And I saw a nice big splash out yonder, so there's definitely some bigger stuff hitting those crappie. I'm just a little light roll cast, and that's about it. I'm 30 feet out. It's, 9 feet of rod, 9 feet of line, 9 feet of leader, close to 30 feet. No effort. This is just really quick fishing. I'm going to keep these here crappie, like I said. Just keep what you're going to have for dinner. Keep a couple. Don't overdo it. There'll be plenty years to come. Sensibility is always better than rules and rules. If you practice sensibility, I think. And I think that trumps. Common sense always trumps rules and regulations. At least that's what I do. There we go. And I'm just using the PERRINE. That's a bigger one. Wow, something got hit over there. That's a bigger one. It's a nice fish. And I'm using the PERRINE today, automatic. Talk a little bit about that. Love these automatic reels. They have become a staple. They have become a staple of my arsenal. And I'm just using floats. That's a nice fish. See, way over the keeper size. That's something I want to try. That was there we go. That's a nice one. And just fishing with, you can see the float. Clouser minnows, 9-foot leader, kind of heavy leader. 10-pound. Wow, that's a good one. I got about 10-pound leader on. Got a small mouth on him. Well, maybe not. But there's a float, Clouser, crappie. Got the PERRINE automatic. We're just in heaven. That might be the biggest one yet. That might be the biggest one. No, well, he's up there. We're just using floats. Yeah, that's a nice guy. That is a beauty. There's a float. Clouser. And get him on his way. Yeah, just nailing that Clouser minnow. Suspended with a 2mm foam fly fishing float. Definitely they're in and out, but that's the float. And you can slide it up and down. It seems to be at a sweet spot now. Might have shifted down a little bit, but it stays, the foam float stays put fairly well. I just boiled up today. And foam float, yellow Clouser minnow today. It's going to use green and yellow. Today I am using yellow and white. That's a little guy. Got the foam float, if you can see it. Fly fishing float. The 2mm foam. I get a sheet of it. You can get a sheet of that there foam from Michael's, and I just cut these rectangles. You can cut them other shapes too if you want, ovals and squares and whatnot, but I take an Allen and just punch a couple holes. Sometimes you have to kind of twist it to widen them out a little bit, and I showed you how to slide them on. And there's another way to do it too, if I were to just put one in the middle of the day, if you don't want to remove your fly and slide it on, you can just make a loop, and you put that loop through the hole. You come through, go out, and then the loop kind of catches the foam and you can tighten it. But I'll show you that later. Usually if you get oh, there he goes. You get a hit, usually you'll follow up with another guy. Let's see if they're still there. And usually a couple of those fish will take interest at the same time. Well, there we go. The other guy was bigger, that's for sure. This is just, wow, steady, fast, fun fishing, using the foam floats. And just Clouser minnows. Wow. And I'm just using, this is, I haven't mentioned, a 7-weight line, rod 7-weight, and I like it. I like going, they're crappie. The general trend is, I think for a lot of people, for some reason in the fly fishing world, is people that try to get down to a 1-weight rod and reel. I think if you're going out for the day, my opinion is you should go up rather than go down most of the time. Just because you could throw bigger flies easier with bigger weights, and with that float on there, you're definitely going to be playing around with weight and air resistance, so you need something to kind of bully it around. I'm sure if we got away and in the water from the trees, we can get easy 70 feet of line out with that float if need be. That's a beauty. There's some big ones. Go ahead, buddy. On your way. I set the hook. I just, sometimes the float will set it for you. Other times a little twitch. Or a nice pull if there's going to be a big one. Or just move your rod tip a little to the left. They're just about hooking themselves. And I think the resistance that float presents, generally, that's they're just kind of kissing it. So if they're gonna get that sticky hook in them, they're gonna get it from the float before you even have a chance to set it, which is one of the advantageous aspects of using a foam fly fishing float. There we go. You see I swung the rod over a little, watch that float go down, but that hook I'm pretty sure was set before I even, it was at least, well, he really inhaled that. He wasn't going anywhere. I find your hands, be careful when you do that, but make better or softer on the fish than a set of metal pliers. Just my opinion. I just got nipped off by a pickerel, so I have another yellow here, fairly sparse. I hope I got the same mojo. I'm going to tie that guy up and keep on going. Okay, I just use a regular clinch knot for these crappie. I don't think they care. And I got my float, probably, I'm going to shift it up a little bit, probably about 2.5 to 3 feet up my line. And this is 10 pound leader. You can call it a 10-pound tippet, may you will. And I'll show you where I have my float. I think these things are just as good as any other floats that you will use. So I have about 2.5. I'm going to shift that up a little to 3 feet. This is about 15-pound test. And then I have a 30-pound bud section. Really like to keep my leader straight, but just kind of got into it today. So, well, I was starting to doubt. I switched over. Is that a turtle out there? Or is that a fin? There's something out there. I don't know what it is. But I switched over. My Clouser, because a pickerel ate my other one. And it didn't have the same mojo. I don't know. But, ooh, you see? He was hit too. That, I think, was from a fish. It's from the bottom, I think they're fish. And this one. But it's an automatic fly fishing reel. And you can see it is just perfectly doing the job. I love these automatic reels. And this one, I got a couple now. I just fell in love with them. And I got a couple of them. Now this one I am probably going to use for my sinking line. It's a little thinner, the sinking line. That spool on there is a little narrower than my Martin that I like to use too. So I'm going to switch those lines out, but I'm just playing with this today, using it for the crappie. And I'm just fishing again. All about today is the foam fly, 2mm foam homemade fly fishing floats. You can make probably a sheet of a couple hundred. They come in 8x11 sheets. You can get at the Crap store, or you can get on at Michael's or online. And you can just change the depth, like I said, by sliding them right down. I'm going to make it a little closer. I might have brought it up too much. So you can just slide them up and down to whatever depth you want. And they stay relatively well without a loop. If you find that they're slipping, you kind of you can wrap them around and they'll stay. And that didn't take long after I brought that float down. Oh, I don't know, 6 inches. That could have been it. Might have been right in the bottom on it. I don't know. No, it was moving. That didn't take long. I'll find out soon. Just twitching it. If you got, there we go. If you got a little current, kind of let the current take it. You really don't have to do much. This here foam floats, Clouser, minnow combo, kind of have their own action. That's the smallest one of the day, I think. 7. Maybe a little bigger. 8, 9. Wow. Just using these 2mm floats. That's one of the bigger ones of the day, I believe. Yeah, he's a nice one. And I might try a green yellow. I'm using 2mm. It's a nice fish. 2mm foam floats with the PERRINE. Got the Clouser minnow and Martin automatic. It's a nice size crappie. And using foam floats. You can get a marker with these here floats if you want, and you can color them all kinds of bright colors and so you can see them better, but the white is just fine for today. Okay, I'm gonna switch over to a green. It's getting a little green yellow, but let me show you another way to do this. You see, when I was talking about, you can color them, make them brighter if you want, or you can actually, they sell the sheets in brighter colors. But if you're just, say, fishing about and you're just going to put one on, you can just make a loop in your line where you want to put your float, and that is going to go through your hole there, and you can do is just turn that loop around, and you can go through the other hole too. I'm just going to go through one, but all you do is pull that taunt, and you can put that float wherever you want. So you don't have, if you don't want to cut your line and slide one up, you can also put them on as such. I do suggest you go through that other hole and then loop around, but it's pretty easy to figure out, and to adjust them you just would put them where you want. So that's another way to put them on. And finishing off with the green, I am going to be fishing. I am going to be getting going. Another last note is there's a lot of fine details, and one just came to mind, especially with the Clouser minnow. Because when you're fishing with these here Clousers, I have found, and it is so true, that your leader will change the sink rate of your minnow. So keep in mind, if you use a thinner leader, your minnow will drop faster. If you use a thicker leader, your minnow will drop faster. On a tapered leader, it's probably the last couple feet that matter as much. So just keep that in mind. If you're using a 30-pound leader with these little Clousers, it's just going to drop real slow. So I got a 10-pound, it's fairly thin. It's probably more of an 8-pound leader. I've heard a pickerel bit us off, but they'll make that Clouser really got a nice, I'm not going to say fast, but you don't want it too fast, you don't want it too slow. But keep in mind, your leader will certainly affect that there sinking rate of your Clouser minnow. And these floats, these here homemade foam fly fishing floats, very easy to adjust. I'll just show you in a second. You can move them up and down. They stay on there fairly well. You don't need any toothpicks or pins or anything like that. You just slide them. They may shift a little, but you can see they got a nice hold. I'm going to keep mine about there for now. That's a little over 3 feet. 3.5 feet. So I'm going to try 3.5 feet, and you can find the correct, most effective depth going inch by inch. I just shifted that a little. Now they're really nailing it. So you can find your depth where you want to suspend that Clouser minnow, give it some twitches, and fish on. And it's a little over 3.5 feet now. Now I'm using green green and yellow. Swing it through. And that foam will either go down, they're probably hooked if it goes down, or you see a twitch, means that they hit it, and that's when you kind of just want to give it a little, either a smack with the line or a smack with your rod tip. They hit it while it's moving, you basically got them. Sometimes they like a more aggressive retrieve. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Seems to be they want that more aggressive retrieve. The Clouser probably going up and down. And that's what they wanted. I noticed that the last couple of fish. I want that. Kind of goes up and down, up and down. Whoa! I'm gonna get out there soon. Might try some bigger, a little bit bigger flies. Keep the float on, I think. But, see? A little shift in that depth of the float, and it's just game on. There we go. Plus the fish also probably pushed in. Which a big factor too is they got to be there after you move your foam fly fishing float, and you got that depth. And you can see you're getting action cast after cast with this here green yellow Clouser. It could be the green yellow. I just switched over to the green yellow. Wow, and these things are very, that's a bigger one. These foam floats are very easy to make. All you need is a scissor, or I like to use a cutter. Wow, that's a nice fish. Cutter or a razor blade and a ruler. When I swallow it, I kind of just get I go in there and I kind of push the hook in and out. But you could make a whole bunch of these foam floats with cost about $1.29, and you can clean make a lifetime supply with a $1.29 investment. Really hitting them now. It's a combination, I think, of the color and the depth I was fishing. The last couple of fish were nice fish. You see they get that? I just kind of pop it in and down. It's a lot better than using pliers. I don't want to be doing that with a pickle. I'm using a bit of a more aggressive retrieve now. And I got a longer depth, fishing a little deeper, riding it a little higher and deeper. And I seem to be liking that. Let's see if one takes here. Sometimes I'll see it, it might have got hit. So it's always worth it to do another pass through the end of your last retrieve. There could be some fish hanging around where you worked your fly through. In this case, they don't seem to be there. I just saw one. And when they have, there we, oh, son of a gun. He is there. Let's see if we can follow up. But you can, sometimes you'll draw in a few fish and they'll take swipes and sometimes miss it. Sometimes they just are reluctant to hit it. Then you come through again and they go nuts. And a lot of times they'll just hang where, there we go. Hang, oh, son of a gun. Is that? Wow, this is just hard pressed on that green. Green like PERRINE. Automatic free stripping reel. That hook said he was going nowhere. Let's shake. There we go. Alright, we got one more. Now I'm getting out of here using the homemade foam fly fishing floats. The Clouser minnows for crappie. And they're just a great thing. And I am going to be getting out of here. And I am going to be getting out of here now. Oh. Oh. Whoa.